So let's go over starting pitching. Now that spring training is here, with the exception of a couple guys like Jake Odorizzi and Taijuan Walker, and a guy here and there, the starting rotations for pretty much every major league team is pretty much set now. Again, there's a couple of guys that are still out there, but they'll very likely be signing with the team in the near, probably in the next week or so, just so that they don't miss a chunk of spring training and preparations for the season. So I want to go over the top starting rotations in major leagues in 2021. And I will probably, there's probably a team right here that's not on there, but I'm going to stick with the top 5. It's actually 6 because I have a tie for 5. But and there's probably a team on here that I didn't mention that you might think that I should. That's okay. Give me your feedback in the comments down below. But let me take you through mine. Tied for 5th, I have the Atlanta Braves and the New York Yankees. With the Braves, we have Max Fried. You've got Charlie Morton, newly signed Charlie Morton. Mike Soroka, Ian Anderson, young pitcher, and Drew Smiley. That's very likely going to be their top 5. Would I be surprised if they, brought in a guy like Taijuan Walker or Odorizzi for depth? Not at all. Not at all. And obviously, an Odorizzi and more than likely go right into the middle of that rotation. And but he's more of he's not one of them dominant type pitchers, but he's a consistent guy every year that you just rely on in the rotation. So he could be actually a nice addition to Atlanta, I think. But this gives him, I think, it's a solid rotation with the addition of Charlie Martin, who's playoff tested, and he's just a reliable guy to put in there, and he's healthy. I think they're going to be pretty solid now that they've obviously on the offensive end they've re-signed Ozuna, and their young lineup is dynamic, but they have a top 5 starting rotation in my opinion. On the other side, tied with them is the Yankees, so they've got Garrett Cole at the 1, very likely Corey Kluber at the 2, Jordan Montgomery at the 3, Jameson Taillon at the 4, and anybody from Davy Garcia to Clark Schmidt to Domingo Germán or even Ulis Chacin. There's a bunch of guys I think are going to be competing for the 5th spot, and whoever's not there is going to be a long relief. So I think they have a lot of, well, not a lot, but they have a sufficient amount of depth to help offset some of the injuries that they inevitably get, because they get decimated with injuries every year on the pitching side. So I think this year having guys who can spot start and throw long relief, particularly when you have about 4 guys who could be the number 5, it's going to be a benefit for the Yankees. Plus, it helps ease the load off of their bullpen. So they're the other tie for 5th. So 4th place got the Washington Nationals, and this is one of the rotations where you have 3 Bulldogs up top. Max Scherzer, you got Patrick Corbin, and Steven Strasburg. That is a number 3. I mean, that is a top 3 right there. 3-headed monster. And they've added John Lester, and they still have Joe Ross. So John Lester gives them a nice, reliable, playoff-tested championship experience pitcher from the left-handed side to complement Corbin. And I think he's going to be a nice addition to that rotation, actually, give him a little bit of more stability there. And to complement all the moves that they've made on the offensive side, they come in as number 4, in my opinion. So they've made some moves, and I think they're going to be one of the favorites in the National League East. Actually, and what's crazy is I can say that about pretty much every team with the exception of the Marlins right now. I think the National League East is going to be extremely competitive and very close, only within probably maybe 3 or 4 games from the 1st place team to the 4th place team, or at least the 3rd place team. I think it's been pretty close. And this rotation gives them a really, really good shot at being the team to come out of the National League East. Them or the Braves could be either one. 3rd, New York Mets. I mean, Jacob deGrom. You've got newly acquired Carlos Carrasco, who came in with the Lindor trade. You've got Marcus Stroman. You've got Noah Syndergaard coming back from Tommy John, although they should probably ease him back in, but who knows what they're going to do. They did trade away Steven Matz to the Blue Jays, but with that said, they still have David Patterson and Joey Lucchesi. So they're strong. They're strong through the 3, and potentially really strong through the 4 if Noah Syndergaard comes back and proves to be healthy and is throwing again consistently. And with he's a hard thrower, so if he gets back to full strength, that 1 through 4 is going to be pretty lethal. And that's already 3 teams in the National League East on this list. So very, very competitive division, and Yeah. Number 2, San Diego Padres. I mean, to me, they're the most improved starting rotation this offseason. They brought in Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, and Joe Musgrove all in trades. They gave up a lot of prospects from a depth standpoint, but the highest ranked prospect was number 3. That's pretty impressive, okay? And then you complement them with, Dinelson Lamet, young, really, really good-looking starter. And then you've got Chris Paddock as well. So that's a pretty strong 5, in my opinion. So they're going to be right up there. I think, obviously, the second best rotation in baseball and the National League. So, which leaves me with number 1, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They already had a filthy rotation of defending world champs. They're adding 2, because remember, David Price sat out last year, so he's essentially an addition to the starting rotation, as well as Trevor Bauer. So you've got Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, David Price, and then coming up on the back end, you've got Urias, you've got Dustin May, and Tony Gonsolin. I mean, that's crazy good. Crazy good. Any one of those guys could be a number 5 or a number 4, or number 3, or even a number 2 on a lot of major league teams. So those guys coming in on the back end. So they have the depth, they have the talent on the back end too. They're, to me, to be the most complete rotation, and they added pieces to the bullpen too. And that it makes them a really, 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 strong candidate to repeat, and so as well as bringing back Justin Turner and adding some other pieces too. Which I will go over the top batting lineups in my next video, and I'm going to go over the best bullpens in the video after that. So keep an eye out for those as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so you don't miss it. And if you like good baseball content, this channel is definitely for you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy it. It's really helpful to the channel's growth. And hit that notification so you don't miss when the videos come out. So that's my top 5 rotations. Let me know what you think. If you have any different ones, put them in the comments down below. Have a great week. Thanks for your support. Talk to you next time.